And today I'm going to show you how I made a fun card with the Fluffy Squirrel stamp set. This is one of the new ones from the upcoming Stampin' Up! Mini catalog from the September to December mini. And yeah, it's just a fun little stamp set that I do love the images on it. And I know originally a couple people were like, I'm not sure that I love the squirrels, but I like them, and I think you're going to like them too. So I think it's a fun little stamp set anyway. So I am just finally getting it to where YouTube is showing me, yep, I can finally officially see that I'm live out here. So hopefully you all are getting the notifications too if you subscribe. So all right, wiggling my screen around here a little bit, trying to get things straightened out and, hopefully somewhat centered again. So, hey, Karen and Amy and Sally, I'm glad everybody's joining today. Like I said, it's a fun little stamp set we're going to be using today. It's a bundle, again, called Fluffy Squirrel. And yeah, so this is a card. I thought it was kind of fun one for fall. And so, hey, Tanya, thanks for hopping in, and Melanie too. So just kind of a fun little, I don't know you need to have it be a fall, but it kind of reminded me of fall with the wood grain and the colors and things that I picked to use it with this. So it's a cute little stamp set. So, all right, this is the stamp set. Again, it's called Fluffy Squirrel, and it is from the September to December mini catalog. So it's from the upcoming catalog ordering will start from Ordering will start on September 3rd is what I'm trying to say. So you'll be able to get this cute little stamp set then. It's got some fun sentiments. And then there are the two-step stamp images for the squirrels. And I will say, if you just look at like this squirrel and this squirrel, they are a little creepy looking when you just look at them by themselves, because they got those big, like, empty looking eyes. But it's really cute, actually, when you stamp it together, at least in my opinion. I think it's really cute. So definitely one that I think everybody should get. Oh, you're liking the, yes, the new mini catalog is really good. I'm glad everybody's liking it too. So this is the punch that coordinates with it. And for whatever reason, my computer's in a weird spot today, so I'm having a hard time reading the comments. Hopefully that'll fix it. So this is the Fluffy Squirrel Builder Punch. And it is really cute when you see it in person. See, I told you, Karen, you just got to get it all, and then you're never sad. So it's a cute little punch. This side, obviously, there's a glare on it when I show you this way. So it punches out this squirrel and then the little acorn as well. So it will punch out both those images. And like I said, just really cute. All right, so that is the stamp set and the punch. A couple things that I did use in addition to that. These are the textured notes dies, and I used the smallest rectangle to cut out my sentiment on the card. And then these are also new. They're called branching out dies, and they are from the upcoming online exclusives. So this is one of those items that you'll be able to find in the online store, in the online exclusives. And it will also go live on September 3rd. So I used the largest of the little branch out dies, and then the second largest. So I use the largest to cut a piece of Cajun craze, and then use the second largest to cut my layer that I glued my squirrels onto. All right, so two dies that I used, and I think that's kind of it. So the rest of it I'll tell you about as we go through. Couple things to keep in mind. Just make sure that you're getting those in-color products put in your shopping cart and get your orders put in for those before the end of August. Right now, all of the 2025 to 2027 in-color items are on sale for 15% off from Stampin' Up! Through the end of August. And if you love Stampin' Right markers, Stampin' Up! Did announce today that they are discontinuing the Stampin' Right markers. Those are not the blends, so don't panic over those. I would panic if it was the blends. It's the regular Stampin' Right markers. So there's some details on my blog about the why behind that, but they are discontinuing those. They are available while supplies last. I think starting tomorrow officially. So but yeah, so definitely go take a peek at those. Grab those Stampin' Right markers if you are interested in those before they're gone for good. And then one last reminder, just make sure you're checking those online exclusives every time that you are out in the online store. The products come and go. They're not tied to any catalog. This is just a really small sampling of the products that are out there right now. But there are tons and tons of things. So just make sure you're taking a look at those anytime that you are shopping so you don't miss out on any of the good stuff. So hey, Danette, and to anybody else that I totally missed saying hello to. I saw some of you coming in while I was busy yakking. So, all right, my original card I had made with the kind of lighter wood grain on the top and then the darker on the bottom. And then I went to cut up pieces for this, putting the card together today. And then I realized that I didn't have a bigger piece. I was kind of digging through the scraps because clearly I do love the wood grain paper and I need to get another pack of it. Was digging through the scraps and realized I didn't have the larger piece of the lighter wood grain. So I put the lighter wood grain on the bottom and the darker up here on the top for my card that we're making today. So, all right, this is crumb cake cardstock, and I think my original pieces, it's like 1.125 for the darker wood grain. I don't even know. This one measures about, I don't know, like 7/8 of an inch. So it doesn't really matter on the size of the panels of wood grain on the background. But for reference, this one's about 1/4 of an inch wider than this one is. And, you know, again, it was just whatever I had left over for scraps. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little Stampin' Seal to stick these to the card front. Actually, I'm going to start with this one, I think. Got my smaller piece down here. Here we go. Crumb cake card base, if I didn't say that, I can't remember if I did or not. It's cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4.25 in the middle. So it's just your standard book fold card base. It is technically a top fold just because of the way the card's put together, but it doesn't need to be. So let me make sure I got that relatively straight on here. I think I did. All right, then the other piece, again, we're just going to take a little Stampin' Seal to stick that one down as well on the top part. Oh, and just gonna line it up with the edge and line it up with the score line, and then hopefully will go on here relatively straight if I if I would get myself looking at the right place on it. There we go. That looks a little better. All right, so got that adhered together. Then I've got some linen thread, and I'm just going to wrap that around the card front twice, kind of roughly where the seam is at on the papers. But again, it doesn't, there's no special place that it needs to be. You can just put it on wherever it looks good to you. Let me grab my snips and give that a little chop. And then I'm going to tie a bow with the linen thread as far over to the left-hand side of this card base as I can get it to go. Let me see if I can get this pull a little bit tighter. There we go. Looks like that will work out all right. So when I tie a bow, particularly with the linen thread, I usually will try to tie a knot first, and that kind of holds everything in place, and then I don't have to worry about trying to have 4 hands and trying to hold things tight as I'm tying the bow. So I usually, come on, not there we go. Usually we'll tie a knot first and make sure that it's tight on there. And then I'll work on maneuvering the bow around. Then it gives me a little more flexibility in how I tie the bow. There we go. Pulling these ends a little bit. There we go. Getting it about even, I think. And then we'll snip off the extras here. And I may cut that a little bit shorter after we get done, but we shall see. Okay, so again, just wrapping this around, and generally it's going over the section where the 2 pieces of designer series paper come together. All right, did a little bit of die cutting ahead of time, so I cut with the largest of the branch out dies. Again, that is a new die set from the upcoming online exclusives. I used the largest die to cut a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock, and then the second largest die to cut a piece of basic white cardstock. Hey, Shirley, thanks for hopping in. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little stamping on this panel before I glue everything together. So I want my little squirrel that's facing this way, that is not the squirrel that you can punch out, that I'm going to be stamping here on my piece of basic white cardstock. I'm going to start with Tuxedo Black Memento ink and ink this up. So, hey, Drew, thanks for joining, and try to get all the gunk off this paper before I stamp on it. And again, just roughly putting the little squirrel over here. It doesn't matter, again, really very much where you put it. And then we're going to ink up the little tree stump. Again, these are all from the Fluffy Squirrel stamp set. And we're going to put the little tree stump off to the other side. And then there's a little flower image here, and I'm going to stamp that 2 times, kind of poking out here from the tree stump. Once, whoop, I didn't get a very good image of that one. See if I can restamp it. Okay, got it. And then it's a really cute stamp set for sure. So, all right. Ink that one up again, and then we're going to take another little flower and we're going to stick it right up above like that. That one's stamped a little better. And then I will try not to put my fingers in the ink like I almost did there a second ago. And then I've got the little fill-in squirrel image. So it's a really cute stamp set. You're going to love it. So definitely don't add it to your wish list. Just get it. So, all right, inking this up in pecan pie ink. And then we're going to stamp it over the top of the squirrel. And she says with some confidence, it's fairly easy to line these up. Whew, okay, I stamped it all right. It's fairly easy to line them up. It's much easier when you don't have a camera between you and what you're stamping. That much I will say. So, but yeah, they're pretty easy to line up because the squirrel's images are pretty distinctive and where the tail's at and all that sort of thing. It's real easy to do. All right, going to grab some Stampin' Blends markers. I'm going to start with Crumb Cake, and I've got the light one to start with, and that is what we're going to color in the stump on the tree with. And again, when I do my coloring with blends, I usually start with the light, and then I fill in the image completely with the light marker. And then I come back in and add in a few details and a little shading with the dark blends. And basically, I just kind of traced over, doing a little bit here on the edges, then kind of traced over where the lines were at already in the image here. So nothing too earth-shattering or difficult about that one. So they're really cute. So I love the little squirrels too. Then I'm just going to come back in with the light and do a little bit of blending over the top. And again, you can do as much or as little as you want to with the blending on this. And I may come back in here because it looks like I missed a few spots when I initially colored it the first time. And just kind of blend everything together. There we go. We're going to call that good enough. I'll go ahead and do the grass part too. You may not have noticed it very much, but I did put a little bit of what was supposed to look like grass or ground or whatever. I mean, if you want to use crumb cake or one of the, a smoky slate or not basic gray, what is the gray granite to color underneath it to make it look like there's a little bit of ground under it, so your images just didn't look like they were floating in the air. And so I basically just took the Old Olive light Stampin' Blends marker and kind of colored around the tree and then colored between the squirrel and the tree and then went over to underneath the squirrel. Again, I was just trying to make it look like he wasn't floating on air. If you like it to be a little bit darker like that, you can certainly leave it like that. I wanted to kind of lighten it a little bit, so I grabbed my color lifter and basically just scratched over the top of this with the color lifter. And when you use the color lifter, you're going to want to give it a second. So when you color over it initially, you'll be like, oh, I don't think it's really doing anything. Then you're going to color and color and color, and then all of a sudden all the color is going to be gone. So how I usually do it is I color over it, and then I give it just a minute for things to dry. And then I go, okay, well, this is a little dark here, so I'm going to come back in and lighten it just a little bit. And again, it's okay that it looks a little smudgy because, again, that was the look I was going for to get the ground to give the effect of being ground or grass or whatever underneath the images. So there we go. And I think I'm going to stop trying to lift any more color off of it, but it's still continuing to dry and continuing to lighten. So it make it a little bit lighter as we're putting the card together here. All right, last little bit that I colored on the card were the little flowers, and I used light and dark lemon lolly for the little petals here. Oh, and I forgot I got to color the leaf in with the green too. And then just come back, put in a little bit of dark on here. And again, you can pick whatever colors you want to. I don't know why I picked yellow, just because yellow's, I like it. And then I'm going to come back in here again with just my light Old Olive marker, put a little color on the leaves. And then I've got Cajun Craze, and we're just going to put a little dot here on the center. And again, I don't know that it matters whether you use light or dark or both. I think that was the light that I actually had used. So that's all the coloring. The flowers are super easy to color. All right, going to grab a little Stampin' Seal, and we are going to stick this together with the other die cut that I've got over here. All right. Flipping it over and just roughly centering it. There we go. And then going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're going to put this on the card front. I'm just going to put a couple down at the bottom, a couple at the top, or it could be the other way around. I don't even know. And then a few here sort of in the middle to support it as well. All right. Flipping this over. Once I get all these little backs pulled off, that is. All right. I'm going to go back over to my card front, and I'm just going to slide this here underneath my linen thread. And again, just roughly center it top to bottom and side to side on the card front. And we'll stick those together. Yeah, it's really cute. It's September 3rd is when it'll be available for everybody to order it. If you're a demonstrator, you can go ahead and pre-order it right now. So yay, either way. All right, I'm going to stamp my little squirrel, the punch squirrel now. So I've got the squirrel that's facing the opposite direction. Oh, and my ink is way over there. I'm going to grab again, starting with the Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And we are going to stamp the little squirrel outline first. And then... and I'm trying to decide, yeah, let me grab another little piece of paper, and we're going to stamp the little acorn on it. I'm just going to do that here in the corner. Look at my punch. Yep, that's the side I want it to be on. And close that up, and then I will grab Cajun Craze. Again, these images are all from the Fluffy Squirrel stamp set. Cajun Craze ink. We're going to use for the second squirrel. Going to ink that up. Just make sure I'm getting it good and inky. And then again, just lining it right up here. And again, it's pretty easy to line these up because you can line up the tail, the ears, and the eyes. And then if you get all that lined up, you should be pretty good to go on the way that it stamps. So that, well, I didn't do a very good job of lining it because I got a foot that's sticking out funny. Let me try it again to see if I can get it better. I thought I had it lined up. Like I said, I tell you, oh, these are really easy to line up, but like I said, I swear they're much easier to line up when you don't have the camera between you and what you're stamping. And then, of course, I should have remembered that I had my ink pad open and went to reach for it, and oh, it's open already. So, little Cajun Craze on the fingers, I guess, never hurt anybody. All right, let's try this again. Try to line up. There we go. I think that's going to be a better image. Much better this time around. He doesn't look like he has a foot that's thumping. So, all right. Here's my little acorn, and we're just going to grab the pecan pie and crumb cake Stampin' Blends markers to color that. So, is it easier to do the stamping opposite? You mean stamping the inside part first? I find it easier to stamp the outline first, but if I know that people do it the complete opposite way of me, so with these stamps, I just find you kind of have to give it a try and see what works best for you. It just kind of depends on your eye and how things are lined up. So, but I don't know. I find it easier to stamp the outlines first. Again, using pecan pie, light and dark, to color the top of the acorn. And then, let me use the other end of that. Using crumb cake for the bottom part of the acorn. So I know Thumper the Squirrel is what I thought of when I saw it. I'm like, oh, it looks like the little Bambi movie with, yeah. Like Thumper was not a squirrel, that is for sure. All right, so coloring those together, then we're going to punch, and hopefully I'll punch straight so I won't have to redo it again. So I've got the little acorn that punches here. And again, when you're lining it up to do the acorn stamping, if you're going to stamp a bunch of these or something, just make sure you stamp, and basically you're going to punch this way across the paper. If I'd lined it up on the other side of the paper and stamped it over here, then I'd basically be wasting all this paper in between. So just pay attention. That's all. The only reason I say it, pay attention to which way the little images are in your punch when you're getting ready to do your stamping and punching. And we've got our little squirrel image here. Let me get that lined up. There we go. And get rid of that extra. Get that punch out of here. And we've got our two little pieces here. Then I'm just going to grab again. Well, I got stuff stuck to my Stampin' Seal. Little Stampin' Seal or glue dots or whatever it is you want to use to adhere this together. I picked Stampin' Seal. And I can see that I've still got Cajun Craze all over my fingers, so I do need to be a little careful, making sure, hopefully, I don't smudge everything up with that. And then I'm going to grab a little glue dot to put the acorn in his or her hands. All right. I'm going to take that, and it is going to go right over top of the flowers, and that didn't bother me at all. So there you go. So we got the little acorn in his hand, and I think it's just too cute. And then the final thing, second to the last thing on the card front is I've got a little sentiment to go on here. And I've got the Go Nuts, It's Your Birthday stamp set, or stamp from the Fluffy Squirrel stamp set. And there we go. We're going to stamp that in Old Olive ink, which I probably forgot to say when I was stamping it. I picked that color again just randomly to coordinate with the grass image on here. And then I'm going to grab my textured notes dies, and I'm going to take the smallest one, and it fits pretty perfectly right around that sentiment. So I'm going to go run that through my die cutting machine quick. I'll be right back. All right. Oop. Yeah, I thought I was going to get it quick. All right, there we go. I've got our sentiment die cut. I'm going to have a huge mess to clean up here when I get done. I just keep throwing stuff everywhere. So, all right, got a couple more. Oh, I used up all of those. So I've got to grab my next little batch of Stampin' Dimensionals here. And we're just going to stick a couple of those on the back of my sentiment. And there we go. And then we're just going to layer that right up here over the top of the two squirrels. I think I scooched it over just a hair when I did my original one. About like that. Hopefully get it on there fairly straight. And then the final thing for the card front is I used a couple of these streaked dots. And these again are from the upcoming mini catalog. They're in the fall suite. I can't even remember for sure what color these are. Maybe they're supposed to be early espresso. I don't know. But there are two different sizes. There's a larger one and a smaller one. And I'm just putting two of them on. I know some of you are team 3 when it comes to embellishments. If you like 3, you can certainly put 3 of them on your card. But I like 2, so that's what I'm going with. So that's it for the card front. Super quick and easy. On the inside of the card, I just stamped that little squirrel image again. Of course, I've got black ink all over everything, but that's all right. Got my little squirrel here. Ink it up with the Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Put it down here at the bottom. And then we're going to stamp it again in Cajun Craze ink. The little fill-in image. So it's similar to that old stamp set. So don't like squirrels, the fruit. Yeah, they are annoying, but they're awfully cute in this stamp set. I know they tear stuff up, and I actually have had a few of them that have gotten into the house, and yeah, that's a lot of fun to deal with too. But that's a whole different story, but they're still cute, I think. So, all right, close that up. And then I realized I forgot to stamp. I had a little acorn in his hand here on the inside of the card too. So, all right. There we go, stamp that in. So he's holding on to a little something. And we're just going to color that again with light and dark pecan pie and crumb cake Stampin' Blends markers. So go ahead and scratch on the light first and then come back in with the dark. Oh, you still have the older stamp set? This one I love that it's got a punch because I don't think that other one did. At least I don't remember it having punches or dies or anything that went with it. And I am not one that likes to fussy cut things, so I always am appreciative, always appreciate it when Stampin' Up! Gives us a punch or dies to go with it because, yeah, I'm not a fussy cutting person. So I love to be able to just make something quick and easy, die cut it, punch it out, whatever, and be on the go, and the card's all done. So, all right, go ahead and scratch over this and try to blend that a little bit. There we go. And then I'm just going to adhere that to the inside of the card to finish it. And I'm trying to keep this out of the Cajun Craze ink that's on the background that I've made a mess and goobed it everywhere. Because I know when it gets on my fingers, it smears on everything. So, don't like real squirrels. See, I agree. I don't really like the real squirrels either because they're kind of a nuisance. But their fluffy little tails are cute. And they're really cute in a stamp set. So can you color the acorns different colors to decorate a Christmas tree? You certainly could if you want to give it a whirl. All right, let's go ahead and do the the crease of the bone folder on here. Again, all of this cuteness will be available to order starting on the 3rd of September when the new mini catalog goes live. And don't forget, these dies are going to be in the online exclusives, so you'll see those out there and not in the mini catalog. So don't panic when you look through and you can't find those. At least I'm pretty sure they're an online exclusive. I think they are. Anyhow, so you can take your pick on which way you like it, whether you like the lighter or the darker on the top better. But yeah, just use up your scraps from your wood grain papers, put it on the background, get these cute little squirrels, and you'll be all set for birthdays, fall cards, just whatever kind of cards. So let me know if you have questions about this. I will be posting all the details on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. Again, details on the Stampin' Right markers that are going to be going away are posted out there already on my blog, so go take a peek at that. And again, I'll link directly to this blog post once it goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time on Wednesday. And I will plan to be back here live again around 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday with another project. So we will see you all then.